Octagon with LowKick MMA. I'm here with Newson, who returns to action April 29th against Brian Kelleher. Journey, how are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. 9 days out. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Pretty relaxed. I just got done with the massage not too long ago. We head out there Tuesday, so I'm as good as I'm gonna be.
Awesome, awesome. But before we talk about your fight, I do have a very important question. Why don't you have a nickname?
Nickname. I've thought about a nickname throughout my amateur career. Nothing like really stuck, so I didn't even want to follow through with it. Plus, I don't know. Nicknames are cool and like Anderson Spider Silva. That just sticks so well. But there's nothing like that really stuck with me or anything, or nothing that anyone came up with. So Journey already is a unique name, and I know like for my amateur fights, I don't think I've done one for my UFC fights. My amateur fights, I came out to my middle name, which is Journey Jarrell Newson. And first, those people who don't know, Jarrell is Superman's father. So
Hmm.
there's that kind of hidden like nickname behind it, but it's my middle name as well. But I don't think I've played that for UFC, and obviously no one's heard of it because you're asking me why don't I have a nickname.
That's so funny because I actually just learned that that your name is Jarrell, and I mean, I think you should at least come out to at least once in the UFC.
I should this time. This time I'll put Jarrell in there. Yeah, this time I'll do it. I mean, it's a dope nickname and middle name. I mean, it's Superman's father's name. My dad was like, pretty big on Superman and all the old movies and stuff like that. So yeah, I remember doing it for my amateurs. Just I haven't done it for a UFC one, but this time I think I will.
That's fucking cool. That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Wanted to ask, what was the biggest thing you learned from your fight against Sergey, man?
Biggest thing I learned from that fight was cage work and knowing that that is like a whole different tool that you need for MMA. You know, I did a little bit of wrestling, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, stuff like that. But like, I wasn't aware prior to that fight, like, oh, there's cage work that needs to be done as well too. So, a couple months throughout this whole fight camp, I've been basically working on that along with, certain wrestling as well, because cage wrestling, those just go hand in hand.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. One thing I really wanted to talk to you about was something that I kind of learned about you. That you're a really big mental health advocate, man. And so I suffer from depression, and it's not really talked a lot about in sports, and especially not in mixed martial arts, man. So I just wanted to ask you, just like, it's kind of an easy kind of layup question, but like, why is mental health so important to you?
It's one of those things that, kind of makes you push forward. If you can't go forward, push forward without a good, positive mental health. You have a negative energy or every day, or you have negative thoughts. It's not really going to get you anywhere. You'll end up going backwards. And end up homeless. Worst case scenario, and that's always for some odd reason that's always been like a nightmare of mine is like ending up homeless. And like one of the ways to get there is just having a negative mindset. And I've had a negative mindset for quite too long. And there's been years where I didn't notice it until I got older, and I'm starting to realize it more and more. And now it's starting to catch up to me. And you know, I I didn't really finally fix it until I got to UFC or until I saw the psychiatrist that the UFC provided and stuff like that. And one of those, it's just one of those things where you're not going to press forward, or you're not even going to enjoy life, if you don't have like a positive mindset. And I can say like almost everybody on this planet has like mental health issues. So I know I'm not alone and stuff like that. So for me, advocating it, I wish this fight was like a week later so that it could be in the month of May, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. But we were right there too. We were right there. But yeah, I'm a big advocate for it. And at first, it's kind of embarrassing to talk about, your personal your personal life history or stuff like that, or what bothers you mentally. You know, as a man, you know, you're supposed to be taught to be tough. You know, there's certain situations that, you know, you just kind of have to let go and just keep moving forward. And I get that and all, and I can do that as well, but still, you know, have a positive mindset and still speak out about mental health issues, especially in MMA.
Yeah, man, it's there's still a stigma, it's 2023 and there's still a stigma behind it. Um, but do you believe that, things are slowly starting to brighten up and maybe the stigmas a little bit kind of go away?
A little bit, yeah. On the men's side, I'm not too sure uh, where that falls. I mean, not a lot of men speak up about it. I think I've only heard, like, besides me, two or three other guys talk about mental health awareness. Um, and it's always a good thing. You always get positive uh, comments from people who do speak out. So why others don't, it's probably the image that they're trying to stand for and stuff like that. That's the only thing I can think of.
How do you said that you started to talk with a sports psychologist, psychiatrist. What are some other things that helped you deal with mental health?
Other things, I mean, just reading a book, really, like getting out of the headspace, going out, you know, with friends. I'm an introvert, so it's hard for me to get out of the house, which is worse because if you're an introvert, you know, you don't like going outside. So being inside feels like the next best thing, but it's literally not the next best thing. Like it's best to go out, or if you do like being alone, you know, just read a book, you know, get your mind busy. But I mean, I get not a lot of people can do that, you know, but then again, not a lot of people can afford like a psychiatrist and stuff like that. And I always try to go, you know, the best possible way. Like if you don't like reading books, then play video games. If you don't like playing video games, you know, go for a hike or something. But it's something that obviously you have to keep your mind preoccupied to stay away from those negative thoughts, which is really hard to do, you know. And the best thing that the psychiatrist helped me with was, you know, box breathing, different type of breathing exercises, basically, and you know, just having that simple thought in your mind that other people have it worse than you, you know, this, and that is temporary. Like this feeling that I have of I'm about to go fight in 9 days, you know, this feeling's not going to last forever. You know, it's just temporary. And a lot of us forget about that because of the mindset, that negative mindset they're in. We just don't want to think about it. And it's just easy to be more depressed and not like try to fight that depression. But as you know, time passes on, the psychiatrist really helped me figure out like if I keep doing these exercises and keep telling myself, okay, definitely other people have worse. Okay, what I am feeling right now is just temporary. It's not going to last, you know, years and years and years. It's just going to last. Literally, if I have the option, like a good minute or two, then I can get past that feeling. And every time I do that, it gets a lot more easier. And it's hard to be consistent with it, but I've proven to myself that if I can keep it consistent, I can keep those negative thoughts, you know, at bay because they're always going to be there. You know, as someone who goes through depression and whoever's listening, like those negative feelings or negative thoughts are always going to be there. But it's how we can change those negative thoughts into either positive thoughts or just keep it off of our mind. And it gets easier, you know, just with more consistency of the breathing or, you know, reading or going out and so it has to be consistent.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that, man. And here's one more thing about it, man. Fighting is such a mental mind fuck. And so, dealing with, and the emotions are high and low, and the fight game's so crazy, and so dealing with wins and dealing with losses is like, dealing with a loss. How do you deal with that, and like how do you not let it like overtake you?
Um, it definitely does, you know, for a split second kind of overtakes you. um, I definitely like know that where I'm at, especially in the UFC, that if I lost, it's for a reason. I'm not facing, bums or anything like that. Like these dudes are tough as nails. So like the fact that I lost means that I obviously learned something from that loss. Um, but yeah, I try not to stick with it too much. I let losses go pretty easily. I mean, I'll go back and watch, the fight and see what happened, learn from it. Like this last fight with the cage work and stuff like that. That's all I lost was by cage control. Like I went back to the gym that Monday morning, because I wasn't injured or anything. Like I ain't taking any damage. It was just literally cage work. And getting over that loss wasn't as hard as when I got knocked out by Costa. That one sucked. And that one was like a tipping point of everything, of me going down to Vegas and go seeing a psychiatrist. That played a big part, along with other things that happened to me around that time and stuff like that. Like that completely like draw me, because I really felt like I didn't belong there. But looking back, I know that I do belong there. I got to win in UFC. I got 2 wins in UFC. Unfortunately, one got overturned by Texas, but I do feel like I belong there. And any loss that comes now, it's because I'm facing tough competition.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for sharing that, man. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about it, dude. Brian Kelleher, it's a big name, UFC veteran. When they came to you with the name, what was your impressions? Like, what was your thoughts on it?
I just assumed, or my natural assumption was that we were going to fight at some point. I always have that feeling. I have a feeling about that with other fighters who I can't think of right now. But Brian was one of those guys where I was like, oh, I'll probably fight this dude at one point.
Awesome,
So I
awesome,
said, yeah. Like, oh, okay, well, might as well be now.
awesome. What are your thoughts on the matchup?
It's a pretty good matchup. Um, he definitely has some holes that I can exploit. Um, the fact that he has 2 losses, he's coming off of 2 losses, kind of has his back up against the wall. Those 2 losses are against highly named dudes, Umar, and who was the other guy? Batista, right?
Yeah.
Batista beat him recently, so he's coming off 2 losses, so that's good in my edge, having him his back against the wall. But yeah, yeah, I just see it favoring in my corner if I can get an edge in the unanimous decision win or possibly a knockout.
I like that you mentioned that, he's coming off the 2 losses. Like, do you think he's he's coming in, awesome with like maybe, he probably thinks his job's on the line, so maybe that makes him more dangerous, like he has nothing to lose, or in case he has everything to lose?
Probably. I didn't even think about it like that. Didn't even think about it like that. I mean, naturally off of 2 losses, you're gonna feel like your back's against the wall a little bit. And yeah, you can go in there with the mentality of, oh, I have nothing to lose. But I can kind of say that same thing. I mean, that's how I got here. I have literally nothing to lose, and even now, I don't have nothing to lose. I don't have a fight win streak yet. I'm down a loss as well. Like I literally have nothing to lose. I can go in there and throw hammers if he's ready to throw hammers.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's a very, very fun fight on paper, man. So at the end of the day, next Saturday night, April 29th, how do you get your hand raised?
Yeah, yeah. I see my hand getting raised. Honestly, in any situation, I assume his shits is pretty good, but and I can sub this guy. I can knock him out. I can win by unanimous decision. Honestly, like my mindset is on either way I can win. I know I can find a way to win, and I just gotta find that way Saturday. And I'm confident I can find that way Saturday.
Perfect. And then finally, man, what do you want your year to look like, man? 4 months in, what are some goals that you're setting for yourself? Are you looking to get back and fight twice a year like you did last year?
Yeah, yeah, I won 3 wins this year, and like I already had it planned out. I wanted to fight a little bit more earlier than this, but I can still get, we get this win. I can get 2 more in summertime, and then like wintertime. That's the goal for 2023 is try and get 3 wins in.
Perfect. Awesome. Jerry, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. If you want to plug your social media, plug any sponsors you might have, and if you want to thank anybody, the floor is yours.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Instagram, Twitter at JourneyJ135. Just like to thank my sponsors, AAA Heating and Cooling up in Portland and Beaverton and stuff like that. My chiropractor, Short Health Center, and yeah, that's about it. All my team people at Impact Jiu-Jitsu.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.